Hi there. It is just after 10:30 and time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you're showing up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and let shit in the box. I've got two big things on my mind to do. Well, three. I had some weird shit happen on Steam, but I don't want to go into that. It's complex and detailed, and it's weird. So I don't want to get into that. But the new Steam controller has been announced at a $100 price point, and my Frankentroller here is the wireless doesn't work on it anymore, and half of the internal parts have been replaced or supplemented with thermoplastic custom bits, and the X button is a little dodgy. It doesn't work sometimes, and it has no screws remaining, which is why it's held together with elastic hair ties. It doesn't have the rumble packs in it anymore. There's all kinds of issues with it, and that is a launch Steam controller. That is a Steam controller that released in 2015, and was purchased like as soon as it came out. So that's due for a replacement. And I have been waiting with bated breath for the Steam controller to come out. And $100 is a lot, but it's fucking worth it. So in 143 hours or so, I'm gonna be throwing $100 at Valve if I've got it, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure I've got it. Which mostly means just like sitting here and spending no money at all for the next week. Which I can manage. I can do that. I can do that. That'll work. And the other thing that's on my mind is there's a bug in Starfield's Terran Armada DLC. And the bug is, if you go to Anchor Point before starting the Terran Armada quest, shit breaks. I was just talking about this last week with Zone 79's stuff. A lot of people seem to develop very brittle quests that are easy to break, and nobody even really tests them. Like, one of the things about the Cryomancer questline is, and I don't want to shit on Zone 79 too much. This is his first quest design. This is the first thing he built, and it's very clearly extended from a tutorial that was on the J. Ramos Tech YouTube channel. I also watched that tutorial. Now, what he did was he keyed everything off of data slates. The problem is, you can go to the Cryomancer headquarters out of order. When you're before you get to the well in New Atlantis to find the data slate that sends you to the Cryomancer headquarters, the Cryomancer headquarters is in a fairly tempting location not that far from New Atlantis. So even as you are just landing in New Atlantis, you can see it and go, what's that? That looks interesting. Maybe I should go check that out. And if you go check that out, well, you can find the data slates. And then when you go into the well and it tells you to go check out the headquarters, you go to the headquarters and it says investigate the headquarters, and you don't get any mission markers. You don't get any objectives, because the objectives point to the data slates, not to the locations where the data slates are. It says investigate the headquarters. You don't have an objective in the headquarters. Your objective is the data slate. And it tells you to go check somebody's office. And your objective isn't the guy's office. It's a data slate in the guy's office, which you may have picked up already. And that's not the right way to do this. A better place to put the mission objectives would be on a computer terminal that you can't pick up and walk away with, so it's not going to go anywhere. But he didn't do that. I don't know what went wrong with quest objectives on Anchor Point. I haven't even tried looking into it. But a lot of people build these sort of brittle quest lines where if you exercise even a little bit of player agency and fuck up the order of things, it all breaks and it all goes wrong. And you've got quests that don't show up, quests that don't update, quests that don't have mission objectives. You get all kinds of bullshit that goes on. And I'm told there's already a fix on Nexus for this bug. But I'm not going to Nexus and downloading some random shit done by a guy in his basement. I'm actually trying to disable a lot of the creations that I'm using on my playthrough. But every time I do that, it makes shit get weird. So I have to leave everything enabled for right now, and eventually I will get around to disabling those. But until then, it is what it is. And it's very frustrating that I have to go back to a previous save. I do have a previous save. It's a fairly old one. It's fairly old. I was level 359 instead of 362. The only thing I'm losing is some equipment that I customized and modified, and I can just pick it up again and redo that. It's not a huge deal, but it is annoying. It is annoying having your save break like that and having to back up. But those are the things that are on my mind right now. Angel Ganev kind of came out of obscurity to do a 5-day portrait class. I'm going to be paying attention to that. I don't know how useful it's going to be. I've watched all his previous videos, and I kind of feel like the tone and cadence of his presentation lately has just looked very much like when I was doing my time in the internet marketing trenches. It was there's a feel to the people who are going to tell you some stuff that's not really that useful and offer to let you pay them at the end of it. So Angel is starting to sound like that. And, good for him. You can't knock a man's hustle. And I'm sure he is a great teacher, but it really is. I really kind of do feel that it's scummy and gross to deliberately teach a shitty class for the purposes of getting people to buy one that actually works. I feel like you should teach a class that works so you can sell a class that works better. That was always the way that I kind of put it. I had a system that I called 4-H product development: the hook, the hustle, the hobby, and the habit. And you start out, you just kind of advertise. You tell people this is the thing that you can do, and it's fairly simple. The hook is just the promise that you make to people, and then you give them the second piece, which is free, and that's the hustle. The hustle primarily relies on you running around and doing all the work yourself. It shows you how to run around and do all the work yourself. It's the kind of thing like if you are teaching somebody how to make a blog that makes money on the internet, you teach them how to set up one blog at a time on a web host. And then when you move on to the hobby tells you how to set up multiple blogs on the same account at a web host. You don't need to do this. It's like if you're just going to go out and set up one blog that makes money on the internet, then you go and you do the thing. And if you want several of them, then you can keep going and doing the thing over and over again and following that process. Or you can buy the fairly inexpensive product, the hobby aspect product, and it'll tell you how to do a better job of this. Now, the idea here is almost everybody goes for your hook, picks up the hustle. And once they see that it works, an awful lot of them are going to pay a small price for the hobby version. That is just like, if you're gonna do this as just like a minor thing, if you're just gonna do this to make some money and then you're gonna move on and do something else, this is fine. But the habit is your high-cost product, and your high-cost product leans heavily into the question of how do you make a living at this? Like, how do you turn this into your primary income? And you don't want to charge people hundreds or thousands of dollars for how to make something into their primary income if they're just experimenting and don't even know if they like it. You want to let them get their feet wet for nothing and pay a small amount to get some results and then turn around and go, well, no, I want to do this for a living. I want to get all the results out of this. I like that process. I like the process of starting with something that works and then making it work better. I like the bit where you give people something that is actually valuable and that actually works and that actually gets them results, and you don't charge them for it. I like that. I don't like stringing people along and fucking with them until they give you money. I especially don't like stringing people along and fucking with them until they give you money for something that doesn't even work, which is what you get a whole lot of the time. And I'm not fond of that. I do not want to be in the business of selling bullshit to idiots. And if you're in the business of selling bullshit to idiots, I don't like you very much. And I worry that Angel is in the business of selling bullshit to idiots now. But I don't know. I can't say. Anyway, that's been my day today, is watching Angel's live stream, and well, I watched the recording of his live stream. I didn't watch it live. And worrying about how I was going to manage to buy the Steam controller, and trying to fix my load order so I could actually load this saved game and get myself back into Starfield without suffering the bug from Anchor Point. It is Anchor Point, right? Yeah, it's Anchor Point. I want to disable most of these mods. I don't use them. I want to keep the Trackers Alliance stuff. I want to keep Escape. Escape is kind of cool. I'm still messing around with that and finding out all of the stuff there is to do with it. Obviously, I'm keeping my Starborn Guardian 7 Plus because I need the new Game Plus counter that comes with it. And I like Falkland Ship Services. And I like the Spacer Overhaul, which, again, from Zone 79, he does a great job on props and on outfits and equipment and designs, and his installation designs are really good. The only thing I have any criticism for is his quest development, which is obviously it's a new thing for him. He's just doing it. And he's improving at it, and he's getting better. So I'm not going to complain too much about that because I see him improving. I'm like, gambate kudasai. You're doing a good job, man. Let's go do some of this. So I don't want to jump on him about that. But I do wish he was doing a better job. I've been thinking, I got this idea. Well, what I'm kind of toying around with is I have started to think, because I've spent all of these hours in the creation kit lately, I'm starting to think that it might actually be accessible to build the thing I thought Shattered Space was going to be. I think that'd be really cool because there's an expectation I had for Shattered Space, and I did not get what I expected from Shattered Space. I'm okay with what I did get from Shattered Space. I feel like no, I'm not. Shattered Space is fucking garbage. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I'm sure other people like it. It's not what I wanted. It feels like it was going to be bigger, but they had to rush. And I'm guessing that's because everybody was shitting all over the game and saying it was garbage, and they were just like, "Oh shit, we got all this stuff to fix. We got all this stuff to add. We gotta put a moon buggy in the game." I just really feel like Shattered Space was a larger plan that they stripped back and scaled down to fit into. I was disappointed. I thought Shattered Space was going to be cooler. I thought Shattered Space was going to be more interesting, and it wasn't. It was shit. So yeah. Anyway, the thing that I thought Shattered Space was going to be before it came out was about the size that it is. So I'm not talking about doing something massive. I thought it was going to be about the size that it is, but I also thought it was going to be a very different storyline. And I've started to think, as I look through the creation kit, that it's accessible to build the thing I thought they were going to build. And I'm starting to toy with the idea of maybe I should try to build it. And I don't know. There's still a few things that I don't know how to do. There are some things that I go, Well, surely there's a way to do that, and surely there is, but can it be done in the creation kit? And listening to the things that Kingas says about developing Watchtower and what they had to do and the trade-offs that they had to make, I'm thinking, ooh, maybe I can't do the thing that I want to do. Maybe it's not that easy. But I'm going to keep looking into that because I think that seems doable. Not making any commitments to do anything. But I am thinking about it. And I always think about stuff and then just like most of the time I don't do it or it takes me several years to do it. But I am thinking about it. Do a lot of thinking about it. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm sitting. The new Steam controller looks really fucking cool. I definitely need one. And I need to redo a lot of stuff that I was doing in the in Starfield because I lost like 3 levels. Levels don't fucking matter anyway. But I don't know. I don't have anything really meaningful to talk about tonight. So yeah, it is what it is. Do the little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Okay, bye.